Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to see current affairs of 26th July 2021. In this lecture, we are going to discuss 8 topics which are very much relevant to UPSC. So let's get started with our discussion and let us see first topic. Title says 9 killed as boulders hit vehicle following Himachal landslip. So this article mainly talking about this landslip. So if you have gone through your syllabus copy of UPSC, so in geography you will be having this landslides, and this landslides is also comes under your syllabus even in disaster management, which comes under GS paper 3. So in geography, what we are going to study? So in geography, we are going to study what are the reasons for this landslides and types of landslides. But in disaster management, we are going to discuss and we are going to study, so what are the steps which can be taken, like disaster management cycle we are going to discuss after once this landslip had happened. Like we can talk about preparedness, we can talk about mitigation, what are the steps which can be taken, like rehabilitation, reconstruction, etc. So that will mainly comes under your disaster management. And under geography, you need to understand what are the important causes for this landslide and what are different types of landslide. So this will be comes under your geography. So now let us try to discuss this topic in a very great detail from our UPSC point of view. First, let us see context. So if you see context, it mainly says that 9 tourists, okay, so these are tourists. So 9 tourists, they were killed after heavy boulders they fell on van of this tourist, and that led to death of this 9 tourists. And after this boulders which already fall, and later on that led to also one more event, that is landslip. So first what happened? Boulders. So if you see any hill, it is present. So if there is any car which is parked here, so suddenly whenever these rocks which are from these hills, they are suddenly falling on this van, that is leading to some accident type of thing, and that lead to killing of people who mainly present in this van. And after that, once this rock boulders they come down because of influence of gravity again, so that led to landslip in this region. Okay, so these are the two important things that happened. So because of this heavy boulders and as well as landslip, that mainly lead to kill of 9 tourists, and it mainly happened in Kinnaur district of Himachal Pradesh. So this is context. And now let us see some important details. So if you see details, it mainly says that multiple landslips mainly triggered by recent rain. So already we studied in our earlier classes, like, so first of all we saw monsoon deficit that happened, right? So after that, within 1 week, from last 1 week onwards, we are seeing revival of this monsoon. So in this revival of monsoon, we saw one report. So that report mainly says that in southern part there is excess rainfall, and we saw deficient rainfall in northwestern side and as well as central India. So here, as we know, here this Himachal Pradesh mainly seen towards our North Indian side, right? So whenever Bay of Bengal winds are bringing moisture and they are creating rainfall in this Himachal Pradesh. So what happened here? So this article mainly says that because of recent revival of monsoons and there is increased rainfall in this Himachal Pradesh. So because of this heavy rainfall, that led to landslide. So what happened? Whenever any soil is present along the slopes of hills or mountains, so whenever there is excess rainfall, so we can see here there is saturation of the soil with water which is happening. So because of this, what happened? Already we know that gravitational pull which mainly acts, or gravitational force which mainly acts. So because of this, whatever the soil which mainly saturated with this water, that will have capability or intensity to come down because of this gravitational force. So this led to this event of this landslide. So because of this landslide or landslip, that also led to bridge collapse, and as well as that led to damage to some vehicles. Okay, so these are some important details which are given. And now let us focus on some facts from our geography point of view. So what is definition of this landslide? So landslide, in short, in layman terms, so I can say it is a movement of mass of rocks or debris or soil down the slope. So as we know, whenever there is any hill is present, so this is called as slope. So this slope also plays an important role in this landslides and landslip. So whenever slope which is steep, okay, that means like this. So we are having great intensity. So we can see there will be high chance of having this landslip. So whenever slopes are very much gentle, that means we do not having any steep slope. These slopes are very gentle means, so we can see this takes some time. But whenever we are having steep slopes, we can experience rapid and very fast landslides than compared to that of these gentle slopes. Okay, so this is the one important factor that mainly determines this landslides. Okay, so first here you need to understand, so this slopes. So across this slope, whenever there is a mass of rocks or mass of soil or debris that is coming downward, so this is called as, this event is called as a landslide. So we can see 5 important modes of this landslides. We can see faults, that is sudden movement, and next one is topples we can see, and as well as slides, spreads and flows. So if you open your NCERTs, then you can see each and everything regarding this 5 modes of land slopes, okay, landslides. And if you're talking about causes, then these causes can be divided into 3 types. First one is because of geology, second one is because of morphology, and third one is because of human activity. So now let us try to understand each and every one. So first and the foremost here is geology. Geology means which mainly related to characteristics of that material. For example, if you are talking about rock or earth, or it might be a weak or fractured things that are present. So because of all these things, there is a difference that is seen in strength and as well as stiffness. So whenever strength is high, we can't see a landslide. Whenever strength is very much less, then it is very much prone to this landslide. So first and the foremost cause here is geology. Geology, it is related to characteristics of material. So for example, rock, earth, and if there is any fracture, or whenever there is a different layers, so what is the strength between these different layers? These are some important factors that leading to this landslides. And next one is morphology. So morphology means simply I can say it is a structure of land. For example, if you are taking any slope of hill, we are having a rich vegetation here, which is plants which are present here. So whenever plants are present, so they are having roots. So these roots will hold soil tightly. So in these areas we can see this area will be less prone to this landslide. So whenever I am removing these vegetation here means, so here this soil do not have a proper strengthening thing here. So because of this soil, whenever there is high intense water or intense rainfall which is happening, so that will leads to saturation, and this area will be having higher prone to this landslides. So whenever there is no vegetation or whenever there is fire or drought, so these areas which are highly vulnerable to this landslides. And next important cause here is human activity. For example, in hilly areas, especially we are going for tea gardens, and as well as in northeastern areas, they will go for shifting cultivation. It is also called as zooming cultivation in northeastern India. So in this shifting cultivation, they mainly go for cutting down of forest. They will go for deforestation, and they are converting this forest lands into agricultural lands. And after some time or after some years, they will leave that place and they will go for next patch of land. So because of this, what happened, we are removing vegetation in that area, and whenever we are going for any construction activities, and even when we are going for mining, so these are also some important causes which can be classified under human activities, that is triggering landslides. So these are some important causes that you need to remember. And now let us try to understand what can be the steps that can be taken, like mitigation. So what can be the steps that can be taken? So first one here is we can go for terrace farming, especially in areas of northeast, they are going for shifting cultivation. So instead of shifting cultivation, we can go for terrace farming. And next one is we need to restrict on construction activities and other developmental activities in landslide prone areas. And we need to go for limiting of agriculture, because agriculture will leads mainly to deforestation. So in this agriculture, we are mainly cutting down this forest, and we are converting this forest land into agriculture. So we can limit agriculture mainly to prevent this landslides. And next one is we need to control the development of large settlements in high vulnerability zones. And next one is we need to promote large scale of afforestation, and we can go for construction of bunds that will decrease flow of water such that we can minimize saturation of soil particles with water. So these are some mitigation steps we can take. And now let us focus on one important thing, that is how can we manage landslides and snow avalanches. So this is a thing which I represented here in a diagram. So in this way you can represent your answer in your mains. Okay, so because of this, from now onwards I decided to add as many images as possible to understand the concept deeply, and we are going to come up with a new type of approach from today onwards. And let me know your suggestion in comment box. Don't forget about your suggestions. So if you see here, this diagram which mainly focusing on management of landslide and snow avalanches. The snow avalanches which mainly seen in this northern Indian region. So here we can go for multi-hazard conceptualization, and we can also focus on landslide remediation practices, and we can go for research and as development and monitoring and early warning. It is very important mainly to minimize effect or impact of this landslides. And next one is we can go for knowledge network and management, and we need to focus on capacity building and as well as training. And finally we need to make awareness about these landslides and their impact, what are the causes to people. And we can also go for emergency preparedness and response, and regulation and enforcement, and we need to come up with a landslide hazard map. Okay, and also we can go for risk assessment. So these are the components which will comes under our disaster management. Okay, so these are some important things that you need to remember regarding this topic, and I hope this topic is very much clear now. Now let us move on to next topic, and this is a very interesting, and it is also very important from our prelims this year. So title says Telangana's Ramapa temple gets World Heritage tag. So students from Telangana state, they need to know about Ramapa now. It is time for you to revise about Ramapa, because in your interview you can also get a question regarding this topic for sure. So now let us try to discuss this topic in a very great detail. So this topic will be important regarding GS paper 1 under art and culture. So now let us try to talk about this topic. So before that, let us try to understand chronology to World Heritage tag of this Ramapa. So this Ramapa temple mainly was built by general, that is Rechara Senapati Rudraya. So he was mainly general of Kankatya king, that is Ganapati Deva. So this temple mainly dedicated to Rudreshwara, that means Shiva temple. So here you need to focus, it is mainly temple of Shiva but not temple of Krishna or any other lord. Okay, so this is temple of Shiva, that is Rudreshwara. So this is mainly one important thing you need to remember here is the name Ramapa, which mainly came because architect of this temple was Ramapa. And next one is Malik Kafur. Malik Kafur, the slave general of Alauddin Khilji, he mainly invades Kakatiya kingdom, and the art of the temple iconography mainly damaged during this invasion by this Alauddin Khilji, and this campaign during 1310. So after that an earthquake of magnitude, that is 7.7 to 8.2 magnitude, which mainly hits this region. So because of this, it mainly affected flooring of this temple. And next important thing here is, so in 2014, India makes a nomination. So this nomination will be done by government of so and so country. So here this is government of India mainly makes a nomination to UNESCO of this glorious Kakatiya temple and gateways as a serial site with Ramapa temple, which is located in Palampet. Okay, so in 2019, officials of International Council for Monuments and Sites visit this Ramapa temple in Palampet. And recently 43rd World Heritage Committee meeting that is held in this China, which mainly postponed because of this outbreak of this pandemic. okay, that used to held, okay. But what happened recently on July 25th, 2021, Ramapa temple inscribed as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO, okay. So this is about chronology, and you need to remember this chronology because from this facts you can get a question in your prelims. And now let us try to see context. So if you see context, it mainly says that a major diplomatic triumph, that is 13th century Ramapa temple, which located in this Palampet in Telangana state, which declared as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, okay. So here this Ramapa temple declared as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So one more thing I want to make you revision like, so recently we studied about World Heritage Site. It is also seen in news because of Liverpool that lost its list, okay, its name in this UNESCO's World Heritage Site list. So here you can expect a question like, so which of the following are UNESCO's World Heritage Site? And you can get something like one option will be like Liverpool, second one it is like Ramapa, and third one it is like Taj Mahal, etc. And you will be asked to choose the correct option. So here you should not confuse here. Ramapa now it is a World Heritage Site, and if you see Liverpool, which made it lost that tag. So here you need to be very much focused and you need to be very much careful. And if you see some details here, it mainly says that nomination for World Heritage Site for Ramapa and Kankatya temples that made in 2014, as we discussed, right? So if you're talking about some facts regarding this Ramapa temple, so this Ramapa temple built by Rachara Senapati Rudraya. So he was a general of Kakatiya king, that is Ganapati Deva, in 13th century, and main temple flanked by collapsed structures of temples like Kateshwaraya and as well as Kameshwaraya temples. And this Ramapa, it is well known for its exquisite craftsmanship and as well as delicate relief work. And the foundation, which is mainly built with sandbox technique, and flooring of this temple, which is mainly made by granite, and pillars are made up of basalt, and even lower part of temple, which is mainly built by using red sandstone. And if you are talking about Gopuram of this temple, which mainly built by using light bricks. So one specialty of this light bricks here is they mainly float on water. So now you can imagine how light they are, okay. And if you are talking about one more thing here, we are going to discuss some interesting thing, that is what is meaning of this World Heritage Site. So here this World Heritage Site, it is a place on earth which is having a special cultural, physical significance and also having outstanding universal value to the humanity. So this World Heritage Site, it is a place on earth which mainly has a special cultural, special physical significance and as well as outstanding universal value to the humanity. So which are the following that will be given this World Heritage Site status? So it may be either building or a city, a complex or a desert, forest, an island, lake, monument and mountains. So these all things they can get this World Heritage Site if they are having cultural or physical significance and outstanding universal value. Okay, so they have been inscribed on this World Heritage list. Okay, so why? What is the need here? Because we need to protect those for our future generations and they need to appreciate and they need to enjoy those also, right? So if you're talking about who lists this World Heritage Sites, so it is listed by UNESCO. So it will be one important prelims fact again. So if you see, we have International World Heritage Program which mainly administered by UNESCO World Heritage Committee. So it mainly establishes the sites to be listed as UNESCO World Heritage Site. And now let us try to understand the procedure how these sites will be selected. So first here is, so for example, if so and so country want to make so and so thing as a World Heritage Site means, so nomination that should be come from that country. So nomination should be started by respective government of that country which is having outstanding universal value. So how can we say it is having outstanding universal value? So there is 10 enlist criteria is present. So if at least 1 out of 10 it is satisfied, then we can say so and so site which is having outstanding universal value. And this outstanding this site which is nominated by respective country that must satisfy at least 1 out of 10 criteria, and this will be evaluated by International Council on Monuments and Sites World Conservation Union, and later on that, after evaluation, so that will make some recommendations to World Heritage Sites Committee, and this committee will meet once in a year to determine whether or not to inscribe each nominated party on this list or not, and finally it will take decision. So here your work is, you need to let me know what are those 10 criteria to say any site which is having outstanding universal value. Okay, so I hope you understand. And now let us see next topic. Title says 35% of government schools Anganwadis have no tap water. So if you are talking about tap water connection, one important scheme in our country which mainly focusing on functional tap facility, okay, that is Jal Jeevan Mission. So here you need to focus on this Jal Jeevan Mission. So this topic will be important from GS paper 2 under schemes, programs and policies of government. So now let us try to understand this topic in a very great detail. So if you see context, it mainly says that over a third of government schools and Anganwadis, they still do not have top water access. Okay. So even after 10 months of Jal Jeevan Mission, which launched a 100 days campaign. So as we know that our government of India, which mainly started this Jal Jeevan Mission 100 days campaign. So in this 100 days campaign, what is the important aim? Important aim, it is to 100% coverage of tap water connections to this Anganwadis and as well as government schools. So this article mainly talking about report of that 100 days campaign of Jal Jeevan Mission. So now let us try to see some important details. So if you see details, it mainly says that Parliamentary Standing Committee came up with a report. This report mainly focusing on importance of repeated washing of hands. So as we know, because of this COVID-19 pandemic, so almost from 1.5 years, schools have been shut down since March. Okay, since March 2020 onwards. Okay. So whenever we want to go for reopening of schools, so why we need to focus on this reopening of schools? Because of shutdown of schools, which is having adverse effect on children, adverse effect on learning capacity of children, and as well as skill of children, mental development, even on nutrition. Because schools, they are providing, especially government schools, they are providing midday meals program. So it will be mainly ensuring nutrition of children. But because of shutdown of schools, there is no providing of midday meals, right? So because of all these things, now we need to go for reopening of schools, right? So here we are mainly focusing on repeated washing of hands. So this repeated washing of hands and maintaining of personal hygiene, which is very much important to decrease or to prevent this transmission of this coronavirus after once schools are reopened. But this article mainly says that so many schools and many Anganwadis, they are not having tap water connection. So how can we ensure repeated washing of hands? How can we ensure hygiene of children? Okay. So this is the one important dimension you need to think about. So this report says that 66% of schools and 60% of Anganwadi centers, they are present across nations. They got this functional tap water connections, okay, but not everything, but not 100%. So here 100-day campaign which mainly focusing on to achieve this 100% coverage of potable piped water supply of drinking and cooking purposes, okay, as well as tap water for hand washing and even toilets. But this aim, it is not achieved. Only 66% of schools and 60% of Anganwadi centers, they had that. So if you see further more highlights of this report, it mainly says that Anganwadis, there is increasing of tap connections for sure, but it increased from 4.3 lakh to 6.6 lakh. And in schools, from 4.1 lakh to it increased to 6.35 lakh. So despite of COVID-19 pandemic and lockdown, so there is increasing of connections that is seen, but it didn't achieve 100% of this tap connections in government schools and as well as Anganwadis. So this is one cause of concern. And we can also see there is widespread disparity between states, and some states like for example, 9 states and union territories, they are having 100% of coverage of tap water connections, and some states like Jharkhand, West Bengal, they are having less than 50% of school water tap connections and less than 10% of tap connections in Anganwadis. But if you are comparing with some other states like UP, it is having 80% of school tap water connections here. So here we can see, despite of this scheme which is implemented by government, so we see there is a widespread disparity. So this is also one cause of concern. And now let us focus on some important basic facts regarding this Jal Jeevan mission. So this Jal Jeevan mission mainly envisages to supply 55 liters of water per person per day to every rural household. So this water supply will be done through functional household tap connections. So target year is 2024. So this is also very important for your prelims. And next one is, this mission mainly focuses on integrated demand and supply side management of water at local level. So at water at local level we are focusing, and we are mainly focusing on integrated demand and as well as supply side management. And next one is, it is also focusing on creation of local infrastructure for source sustainability measures, and there are also including some mandatory elements that need to be taken care. They include like rainwater harvesting and groundwater recharge, management of grey water, that is domestic used water, domestic wastewater. So these are mandatory elements. So you can also get a question regarding this mandatory elements of this Jal Jeevan mission. And if you're talking about funding pattern, so this will be very important from your prelims. It is a centrally sponsored scheme, not a central sector scheme. So because of this, funds will be shared between center and states. So if you're talking about Himalayan states and as well as northeastern state, funding it is 90:10%. That means 90% of funds from center and 10% of funds from state. And if you see for other state, it is 50:50. That is half amount from center and half amount from states. And if you're talking about union territories, 100% of funding that will come from center itself. Okay, so this is about funding pattern. And now let us move on to next topic. Title says deal on Gogra hot springs likely soon. So this article mainly talking about India-China relations. To understand this, first we need to focus on map, and this is not a new topic. So this topic which is happening since May 2020 onwards. So from May 2020 onwards, what is happening? There is a military standoff that is seen across a line of actual control. So this line of actual control, that is LAC, which is present between India and China. So this is one important thing that you need to know. So this topic will be important from your international relations, which comes under GS paper 2, and this is not a new topic actually to discuss. So now let us try to revise this topic once again. So first let us see map. So if you are talking about India-China border, so India is sharing boundary with China. So in this boundary, we are having some dispute with China. So we are having dispute at western sector. Okay, at western sector, we are having this line of actual control. It is about 520 kilometers long line. And we are having dispute at middle sector at Uttarakhand and as well as Himachal Pradesh. In this area, we are having some dispute. And Arunachal Pradesh, that is eastern sector, we are having that at Sikkim and as well as Arunachal Pradesh. China, which is claiming entire Arunachal Pradesh. So first we need to know, we are sharing boundary with China, and at 3 areas we are having dispute, that is eastern sector, western sector and central sector. So eastern sector, we are facing issue with Sikkim and as well as Arunachal Pradesh, and middle sector with Himachal Pradesh and UK, that is Uttarakhand. And next one is at western sector, we are having issue with this line of actual control. And now let us move on to next pic, okay, next image. So here, this is our northern part, right? So this part, it is Gilgit, Gilgit part of Pakistan. It is mainly located in Pak occupied Kashmir or Pak administering Kashmir area. And here between India and Pakistan, we are having this is line of control. So don't confuse with LOC and LAC. So LOC between India and Pakistan, LAC between India and China. So here we are having LOC, that is India and Pakistan. And here we have this LAC, okay. So this is line of actual control between India and China. So this Aksaichen region which is already under control of China. So here recently what happened, there was incident that happened in this Galwan Valley. So because of this Galwan Valley, that led to death of 20 Indian soldiers. And here Hot Springs area we are having some tension, and here regarding this Pongyongso Lake area also we are having tension. But this issue between India and China regarding this Pongyongso, so that is mainly resolved. But there are some areas we are having some cause of concerns, like we can say Gogra area, Hot Spring area, Demchuk area, etc. So this article mainly talking about resolution or disengagement between India and China in these other areas. So this is some background, and now let us try to see context. So if you see context, it mainly says that India and China, they are set to hold 12th round of COPS commander level talks. Here India and China, they are set to hold 12th round of COPS commander level talks. So what is the aim of this talk? Aim it is mainly to resolve the standoff in eastern Ladakh. So in this eastern Ladakh region, we want to come up with standoff, to resolve the standoff issue in this eastern Ladakh region. So an agreement for disengagement at Gogra and as well as Hot Spring areas, they are going to be reached, okay, soon. So if you see some important details, it mainly says that disengagement completed on both the banks of Pongyongso in February. And there are some unresolved issues or unresolved areas between India and China, like Gogra, Hot Spring areas, Demchuk and as well as Depsang Valley region. So if you're talking about issues here, so even at Zojila and as well as Rotang Pass, they kept open longer usual than year due to this standoff. Okay, and we are also going for construction activities along a priority basis like Bachala and as well as Tangla Pass. So here you need to know where are these passes located, but I forgot to attach this image here. So please open your atlas and see which are the passes which are present in these Himalayan areas. So now let us try to talk about what is important of pass. So whenever we are having a chain of hills or mountains in this way, so if we want to connect this area people with this area, so we need to move around these mountains and we need to go in this way. But if there is any pass or any discontinuous that is seen here, so we can easily move in this area to connect this, right? So in this way, these passes will play an important role in movement of troops. Okay, so because of this, we are going for some construction activities at this Bachala and as well as Tangla passes. And now let us see next and most important topic, that is President on 4-day visit to Jammu and Kashmir. So this article mainly focusing on 22nd anniversary of Kargil War. So this topic will be very important from our history point of view, and we can also talk about which comes under post-independent India. So this topic will be important from your mains point of view. In mains, you will be having this post-independent Indian syllabus, right? So because of this, this is important from your mains point of view, and even you can get this topic in your international relations also, relations between India and Pakistan, right? So now let us try to see this topic. So if you see context, it mainly says that President arrived in Srinagar on 4-day visit to UT of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. So here our president, he arrived Srinagar on 4-day visit to Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh as country prepares to observe this 22nd anniversary of this Kargil War. So this Kargil War was happened in year 1999, and this year marks 22nd anniversary of this Kargil War. So if you're talking about some points regarding this Kargil War, which mainly held from May to July in 1999, and it is approximately held for 50 to 60 days, 50 to 60 days, 50 to 60 days, and it mainly happened along this LOC, that is line of control. So at this line of control, we are having this place that is Kargil here. Okay, so in this Kargil place and surrounding areas of Kargil, so this war was held. So this war mainly our Indian Army called it as Operation Vijay, and Air Force will call with a name, that is Operation Safed Sagar. So this will be very important from your prelims, and if you are preparing for other public service exams also, so these facts you can expect in your prelims. And if you are talking about background regarding this Kargil War, so in northern areas of erstwhile Jammu and Kashmir, so they are mainly divided by this LOC in year 1947 to 1948. So what happened in February 1999? Our erstwhile at the then Prime Minister, that is Atal Bihari Vajpayee, he visited Lahore, and at that time he came up with this Lahore Declaration. So what all the things which are included in this our Lahore Declaration? So Lahore Declaration mainly includes to avoid nuclear armed race between India and Pakistan, and as well as architectural operational use of nuclear weapons. And it also includes about avoid conventional conflicts between India and Pakistan. And also it also focused on solving all disputes including Kashmir peacefully. And also includes mainly confidence building measures here. So these are some important things which include in this Lahore Declaration. So what happened here between February and May? So as we know that this Kargil, it is located in a high altitude. So because of this high altitudes, we can see temperature which is very much low. So especially in winter months, whenever the temperature which is very much low, it is below minus 15 degrees of centigrade. So soldiers, they will come down here. So after whenever the temperature which is normal, or whenever this temperature which has been increased, then again the soldiers from down, they will go top here. So in these areas, in this high altitude areas also, we are having Indian post. But what happened at this February and May 1999, so Mujahideen and as well as tribal fighters of Pakistan and as well as disgusted Pakistan army, they arrived at those places and they occupied our Indian post in those higher altitude regions. So actually it was not noticed by our Indian army, but local shepherds, they will go to these regions mainly to graze their animals, and they saw that these Pakistanis, they occupied our Indian post, and they came down and they informed our Jawans, and our Jawans, they reached that place and they thought, yes, whatever this local shepherds said, it is right, and Pakistanis, they occupied our post. Okay, so why we went for war with Pakistan? Because at that area LOC, so we are having national highway. So this national highway mainly connects Srinagar to Leh here. So whenever Pakistanis, they occupied that, whenever they are blocking this national highway, that means we lost the connecting link between Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. So because of this, what happened? Pakistan main aim, it was to block this link and to occupy Kashmir. So later on, our Indian Army and as well as Air Force, they launched attacks to recapture their higher post, and finally on July 4th, Indian Army captured higher post, that is strategic post, which are occupied by Pakistan, and even US mainly pressured Pakistan's Prime Minister to pull off their troops. So this is about this Kargil war, and I hope it is very clear now. Now let us see next topic. Title says joining the dots in the second coming of Pegasus. So this article mainly talking about Pegasus. So whatever the thing which is important from Pegasus, we are going to discuss, and whatever we are going to discuss, that is given in example form here. So you cannot remember these numbers, like how many phones are attacked, so how France president changed his phone. So that is not at all required for UPSC point of view. So whatever which is required, we are going to discuss that. So this Pegasus will be very much important from GS paper 3 point of view, which mainly comes under cyber security. So if you see here, this Pegasus is a spyware, or as we all know, right? So recently there are many reports which mainly says that this Pegasus malicious software or malware, which allegedly being used to secretly monitor and as well as extensive host of public figures in India. So in last 1 week onwards, 1 week on 8 to 9 days onwards, we are studying about this Pegasus. So actually what happened, there are a number of people, for example, opposition party leaders, even election commissioner, former Supreme Court judge, and also a number of activists. So these people mobiles are mainly attacked by this spyware, right? So if you're talking about this Pegasus, it is a malicious software or malware which mainly classified as a spyware. So this mainly designed to gain access to devices without knowledge of users. So whenever we are getting access to their mobile phones, we can gather personal information. Okay, so this is the thing which is mainly behind this spyware. So this spyware developed by Israel firm, that is NSO Group, that came up in 2010 itself. But earlier version of Pegasus which mainly discovered, so researchers captured in 2016, but earlier version they mainly use text messages and as well as emails they will be sent. So whenever we are clicking those messages and as well as emails, then we will download that malicious link into our mobiles. So earlier, why this spyware which is mainly come into picture? Because earlier many countries they used this spyware mainly to counter terrorist activities. So they are going to send messages and as well as emails to terrorist activists. Then if they are clicking that, then spyware will be installed in their mobile phones such that we can get access to personal information of those terrorists. But here now we are coming up with more advanced spyware. So more advanced because now we are having zero-click attacks. That means we do not require any clicking of messages or emails. So as we know now, WhatsApp had been upgraded, right, with video calls and as well as voice calls. So whenever we are getting any missed call, then our phone will download that malware and our phone will be hacked by the spywares. Okay, so it is called as zero-click attacks. And if you are talking about targets of this spyware, recently in reports it mainly says that human rights activists, lawyers, journalists, they are mainly targeted here. Even Indian ministers, for example, opposition party that is Rahul Gandhi, and even government officials, opposition leaders, and also former Supreme Court judges, election commissioners, etc. They are mainly compromised by this spyware. What happened in 2019 itself, WhatsApp filed a case in US court against Israel's NSO group that it is mainly incorporating cyber attacks on application. So it is going to infect mobile devices with this malicious software. So if you're talking about what are the steps which are taken by Government of India, so first one here is we have this Cyber Surakshit Bharat initiative. So we have this Cyber Surakshit Bharat initiative. And under this initiative, we are mainly focusing on awareness, capacity building measures. And next one is we are having this National Cyber Security Coordination Center, which mainly established in year 2017. So which mainly developed to scan internet traffic and communication metadata. And next one is we are having this Cyber Swachhata Kendra, which mainly came up in year 2017. So this is mainly helpful to clean computers and as well as devices by wiping out of viruses and as well as malware. And we are also having I4C, that is Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center. And we are also having this National Cyber Crime Reporting Portal, which launched pan India, that is throughout India. And we are also having certain, that is Computer Emergency Response Team, which mainly deals with the cyber security threats like hacking, phishing, etc. And if you are talking about acts and the laws which are present in India, we are having this Data Protection Bill that to be passed, and we are also having this Information Technology Act. Okay, so these are some important things that you need to remember. And now let us move on to next topic. Title says money changer. So this article mainly focusing on this official digital currency. So we discussed about details of this or background of this topic in our day before yesterday's lecture, I think so, right? So now let us try to understand this topic in a very great detail. So this topic will be important from our GS paper 3 under economy. Okay. So now let us see why it is in news. Because recently RBI, which is mainly trying to introduce digital currency, right? So RBI is working on a phased implementation strategy for its own digital currency. So we are going to have our own digital currency, and it is mainly thinking about process of launching it in wholesale and as well as even retail segments in near future. So it is coming up with some phased wise implementation strategy of our own digital currency. So even a high level inter-ministerial committee, so this committee set up by our finance ministry also recommended for the central bank digital currency. So this central bank digital currency will be very much helpful, and we need to come up with a legal framework. So whenever we are coming up with legal framework, we need to also make changes in our RBI Act. So what is this RBI Act? So this RBI Act, which mainly empowers RBI to regulate insurance or issuance of bank notes. So we need to come up with this changes in this RBI Act also. And now let us try to understand what is this digital currency. So digital currency in short means we are using different payment methods, right? So these payments, when we are using this digital currency, that will exist only in electronic form, and it is non-tangible, and it will be transferred between entities or users with help of technology. So for example, if you want to do this digital transaction or digital currency, so we need to use computers or mobile phones, and internet plays an important role here. So if you're talking about this digital currency, if you're talking about our transactions now we are using these different apps like Phone Pay, Google Pay, Beam, etc. And it is similar to that of this physical currencies. But this digital money allows borderless transfers also. For example, cryptocurrencies. So now let us move on to this image to understand what is this cryptocurrencies. So cryptocurrency means it is a digital money which mainly created by using a code. Okay, so this cryptocurrency economy, it is mainly monitored by a peer-to-peer internet protocol. Okay, and this cryptocurrency, it is encrypted string of data or hash which mainly encoded to signify 1 unit of currency. So if we want to go for getting 1 unit of currency, we need to go for encoding. Okay, we need to go for encoding. And if you're talking about examples of cryptocurrencies, we are having Bitcoin, we are having Ethereum, and we are having XRP market cap. Okay, so there is a different values for different cryptocurrencies, because there is increasing of use of cryptocurrencies that is seen recently. And even Facebook, it is coming up with cryptocurrency. So let me know name of that currency which is come up by Facebook. Okay, so this is about cryptocurrency, and this cryptocurrency mainly use blockchain technology. Okay, so now let us try to understand what is the need of this cryptocurrencies or digital currency now. So it will be very much helpful for addressing of malpractices, because there is decreasing of government interventions. There will be no government interventions. And next one is digital currency proxy war, because US and China, they are fighting towards each other to become supremacy. So as we know, India, it is also a democratic country, and we are also having that capability to become supreme. So here we need to come up with our own digital currency. And next one is, it will be also very much helpful in addressing of volatility. For example, if you are talking about gold or any bonds, so prices will be changing. So there is high amount of volatility. So mainly to address that volatility, we can use this cryptocurrencies. And next one is, we can reduce dependency on dollar, which helps to establish dominance across the world. So because of all these things, now we need to go for this cryptocurrencies or digital currencies. And if you're talking about what is significance, so first and the foremost one is, it would mainly reduce the cost of currency management. Okay, so for currency management, whatever the cost we are using, that will be helpful to reduce this. And next one is, it will be also helpful mainly to maintain high currency to GDP ratio. And if you see, government, they need to bear the cost of printing, transport, and as well as storage. So that cost will be minimized. And next one is, it will be very much helpful for enabling real-time payments without any interbank settlement. And next one is, damage to the public from usage of private virtual currencies. So whenever they are using private virtual currencies, so there will be high amount of risk that can be minimized whenever government is coming up with its own digital currency. And if you're talking about issues regarding this digital currency, first one is, we need to think about whether technology is present or not, or what about validation mechanism, what about distribution architecture, whether we are having or not. And next one is, there is also some issues like legal changes. So whenever we are coming up with anything new, so we need to also come up with law which mainly deals with any violations of that. And we need to come up with some consequential amendments which is required in our Coinage Act, FEMA Act, Foreign Exchange Management Act, and as well as Information Technology Act. And whenever we are coming up with this digital currency here, there will be sudden flight of money from banks. So because of this, banks, they will go under stress. So if you're talking about recent developments across other countries of world, so first one here is, we can talk about El Salvador. El Salvador, which is a small coastal country in Central America. So it is the first country in the world to adopt Bitcoin as a legal tender. And next one is, Bitcoin is also exploring the possibility of creating a central bank digital currency, that is Bitcoin. So even Britain is coming up with, and also even El Salvador. So because of this, India can also take a step forward for its own digital currency. So this is just of this topic. And now let us say next topic. So before that, I want to make a small announcement on this platform. So if you want to clear UPSC, we came up with one excellent, highly beneficial course. That is, if you want to clear this UPSC 2022, so course here is Current Affairs Package along with mains answer writing practice. So how this course will be useful? So one thing you need to remember here is, if you want to write UPSC, so you need to know at least 1.5 years current affairs for sure. And this is right time to join this course to cover this 1.5 years current affairs in a comprehensive manner. And why you need to focus on this current affairs? Because in prelims, in mains, and even in interview, you can get questions from this current affairs. And to answer those questions, mastering of current affairs is very important. And if you're talking about this mains answer writing practice, many students ignore this mains answer writing practice. So they might be thinking like, after completing NCERTs, I am going to start that. After completing standard books, I am going to start that. But as you all know, syllabus it is a very vast. You are not going to complete that syllabus within time. So here you are ignoring this mains answer writing practice. So because of ignoring this, even though if you clear prelims, you cannot clear mains for sure. So here in this course, we are mainly focusing on how to improve your answer writing skills. And next one here is we are also providing you prelims test on every Sunday, and we also give you video explanation part. So in this way, this course which is designed as per demand of UPSC. So finally, I want to say one thing. Please don't take this course as a choice. Try to join this course as soon as possible and achieve your dreams of clearing UPSC. And one more thing is details of this course which is given in description box. So please see that once. And if you want to talk to me directly, you can call to this number 8074765513. Okay. Now again, let's come back and let us see last topic of the day. Title says lessons from India's food security response. So this article mainly focusing on what is India's food security response. So as you all know that government took number of steps mainly to ensure food security in this hard time, that is COVID-19 pandemic. So this article mainly focusing on what are the lessons we can take and what can be done. Okay, what is the way ahead. So this article will be important regarding GS paper to under governance. And this topic you can expect in your mains, not from prelims. So as you all know now, second wave of this coronavirus which is subsiding. And the number of infections that is decreasing day by day drastically. And now it is a time to focus on pandemic disrupted impact on our food security and even livelihoods of poor and as well as marginalized people. So because of this COVID-19 pandemic, one important thing we know for sure is, so we are facing food insecurity and as well as some loopholes in our healthcare sector. So if you see data, it mainly says that the state of food security and nutrition in world, which mainly estimates 1/10, that is about 81.1 crore people, they were undernourished last year because of this COVID-19 pandemic. And India has made an enormous progress in food production. So we became self-sufficient because of introduction of green revolution in India, especially in states like Punjab, Haryana and as well as western UP regions. And in 2020, India produced over 30 crore tons of cereals and built food stocks of about 10 crore tons. And India exported a recorded amount of food, that is about 1.98 crore tons of rice and as well as wheat in financial year 2021. So if you see, because of this COVID-19 pandemic, so we came with this PDS system, and already earlier also we are having this National Food Security Act and as well as public distribution system. So under this PDS, mainly vulnerable people, marginalized families, they continue to get food. Okay. So under this PDS system, which became a lifeline for millions of people who hit a lot by this COVID-19 pandemic. And Government of India also increased entitlements which is given under this National Food Security Act. So under this, about 81.3 crore NFSA, that is National Food Security Act beneficiaries, they received additional 5 grains of food grains per person per month and also 1 kg of pulses per family, free of cost for 8 months. And now we came up with different phases under this Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, and it extended till November 2021. And under this Atmanirbhar Bharat package, 8 crore migrants, they were provided of about 5 kgs of food grains per month for free of cost. And government also allowed even NGOs, non-governmental organizations, civil society organization to buy rice, wheat at subsidized prices directly from FCI warehouses. and they will get rice for rupees 22 per kg, but if you see outside, market price is 35, and they can get wheat at 21 rupees per kg, and outside market price it is 27 rupees per kg. And under this Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, so government provide relief for about 80 crore beneficiaries, and also extended in 4 phases, and in last phases recently we studied that it extended till month of November 2021. And if you're talking about challenges, one important challenge here is leave no one behind. So this challenge mainly addressed government efficiently. It is providing food support for different risk groups like persons who are with disabilities and HIV infected people, refugees, orphan children, elderly, transgender people, single women led houses, etc. And this problem it is addressed successfully. And next one is, if you're talking about way ahead, what can be done more? So first one is, government can implement this one nation one ration card scheme. It will be very much helpful for migrant workers who are moving from one state to another state in search of work. And this also, government also need to focus on building resilient agriculture, because climate change, which is also having an impact, that is adverse impact on agriculture and food security. So here finally it will lead to impact or bad impact on poor and vulnerable. And all food produced which is mainly wasted, about 10% of food which is mainly wasted across the world. So because of this, we need to take some steps to enhance efforts to prevent loss. So this is just of this topic, and there is one another topic in our page number 6 that appeared, that is regarding monsoons. So we discussed that topic already, so you can go through that. Okay, so by this we are concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. And don't forget to enroll to this current affairs package. Thank you so much.